have a pretty major update for you guys on Eugenia Cooney ever since she went to go visit Jeffree Star at his ranch. Since that visit, she's really cut back on being active over on TikTok, you guys, which is pretty unusual for her, but we're going to be getting into that very shortly. She also did another interview, if you want to call it an interview, with Rich Lux, which is pretty shocking because the first one did not go over well, and he even admitted he made a mistake doing that interview. Before we get any further into the video, you guys, Eugenia's trip to Jeffree's ranch was kind of a confidence booster for her, and I always thought this would be such a good thing, but now I'm having kind of second opinions on it. Yes, I am very glad that she finally got out of her house, let alone got out of this state. I am so happy for this girl. It's something we haven't seen her do in a really long time. She wasn't even allowed to go look at the moon outside in her own backyard because there were bells on the door that would awake the beast Deb anytime she tried to step foot outside or get out from under Deb's little wing, shall we call it. And while I thought Eugenia was out living her free little life with Jeffree Star, turns out Deb was there the entire time, just overshadowing the entire situation. So I thought this would be such a positive thing for Eugenia to go out, finally see that she can be independent away from Deb and away from just being stuck inside of her household. Maybe she can see that she is physically capable of still doing things. Maybe this would be good for her, right? And I'm having some 50-50 thoughts, so maybe you guys can help me clear this up in the comment section. So I do think, while I think that this is a good thing for Eugenia getting out and getting some independence, I feel like Jeffree and Rich Lux, you guys, yes, sadly, I'm going to be talking about him as well throughout this video because I feel like they hyped her up in a negative connotation. I feel like they hyped her up to keep getting worse in her condition rather than hyped her up to get better. Here's a quick clip of one of her last live streams. Again, you guys, she was only active last Wednesday and the Thursday prior to that one. She really hasn't been active at all, and I don't see her going active until maybe next week after she's out of Massachusetts and all that situation is over with. But she did upload this little live clip where she's just gaslighting her fans, talking about, you did want me to be happy, didn't you? You did want me to get help, didn't you? And it's just crazy.
We can recover from being sad. You know, here I've been so happy. It's been such a good couple days. So, yeah. Don't you guys want me to be happy? Do you guys want to help? Wouldn't you like what we're doing? Wouldn't you like peace? Being here with Jeffree and having fun?
This is giving me like Regina George Mean Girls vibes, where she's like just gaslighting her audience, and I just feel like we're Gretchen at this point. But then again, I do feel really bad because a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, like, I'm so happy for you to go to Jeffree Star's ranch. I think she's being a little bit, in her, how she might look at it as joking, saying, oh, you wanted me to be happy, didn't you? Like, you wanted me to come do this, didn't you? Because we did. But I think in the way that it happened and the things that had happened and the context in which she's speaking about it didn't go over well with a lot of people. I know it's not going over too well with me because, again, we're still looking for her to get help and she's still gaslighting and joking about the entire thing. And we've speculated in the past that this is all on her mom. If Eugenia really does want to help, like deep down inside, and she's scared to get it because her mom talked about having heart problems and her heart's not healthy enough for her daughter to, God forbid, if her daughter got recovery help, like Deb's heart would just give out, right? But now I think I'm starting to understand just a little bit better. The wheels are turning a little bit more in my head now about why Eugenia might be afraid of going to get help. And maybe that's because she has had a lot of people say negative things to her and she doesn't cope with it too well. We've seen her have multiple breakdowns on camera and it just breaks my heart. But it made me think, you guys, this little clip that I'm about to show you guys, I'll give you guys my commentary after, but this just goes to make me think that this is truly how she feels and what would happen if she would get help.
Just because, oh, if you go do this thing that we want you to do, then it's going to make you like 10 times more famous. So it's just kind of pointless, I guess. For your health? Well, you guys literally just told me it was for fame. You like people keep like saying this thing to me where they're like, really, like there's like a bunch of people that have been on my videos too, like, this will make you 10 times more famous.
I think she's misconstruing what people are saying. I think by them saying like you're going to be more famous, I think they more so mean like, hey, you might attract like a more of an audience, like a different audience who are in recovery or are seeking recovery, saying like, hey, this will help like boost your views, you know, because she uses her looks for views, basically. So what would be different about her posting recovery content? It might be a nitpick, but it's kind of interesting to see the wheels in her brain turning as she's answering that question. I also just think the wording of it, you guys, although I could see maybe, I know some of her audience, a lot of her audience is younger people, so maybe they just don't know how to word what they're saying properly, but I think that wording was pretty off, and I understand kind of Eugenia not knowing necessarily how to respond to it, but I know there's a deeper issue in that question even being asked, because of course it's about her seeking help. I don't really know what to think about this, but let me know in the comments below. Now, before we dive into Rich Lux's interview with Eugenia Cooney, after she got back home from the ranch, you guys, I want to dive into a video that was taken from Eugenia's live, and Jeffree was live next to her, so I want to say it was like their live, but it was taken from their live where Eugenia was asking about a makeup palette, and she was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And Jeffree was like, I'm trying to teach her how to be more independent, basically, and more sure of herself. So let's go ahead and watch some of this video, then we can give our speculation on it after.
Every palette I've ever created is over there, so if you just want to grab one, you can.
Is that right?
Alright, so now we got
You're sure it's okay, Jeffree?
We're going to take it.
Oh, right. Okay. We're just gonna take it.
You guys are teaching Eugenia to not be unsure.
Okay.
Alright, skip
Yes,
this.
you said it's okay, so I just need to...
And I'm a Scorpio, so I only say things once. You need to be unsure.
I like to prove myself.
Now, I'm sorry for that rocky, patchy audio. It sounded like I was like dusting off my phone the entire time. I swear it wasn't me. It was just the video that I had found of this. But you guys, let's talk about it. So in this clip, Jeffree was saying that he was trying to teach Eugenia how to be more sure of herself and to stop second guessing, triple guessing everything, saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, you sure this is okay? Because it's kind of, she just needs help with it. I feel so bad for her that she is so unsure of herself, and it's just goes to show you the lack of confidence that she has in herself that should have been distilled by now. She's 30, so it's so sad that she hasn't had a good foundation around her to where she would be confident enough to not second guess herself so much. But then Eugenia does say, yeah, I do have to improve myself. And while she does say it and they seem to be joking, I think there is a lot of truth in that little clip with her and Jeffree. While I do think there is some intentions behind this whole visit that Jeffree is using just for the advantage of himself, just like Rich Lux uses for an advantage of his career, I do think Jeffree is still, I don't know, he's still kind of endearing for Eugenia at this point. Moving on to our next topic about this, you guys, Rich Lux did his second interview. I know everybody do a slow clap or play the world's tiniest violin. So he did his second interview with Eugenia Cooney, and the first one, it blew over kind of shit, and he even admitted he shouldn't have done that interview. So here he is racking up his views and retention time with the second one. I don't know what it is about Rich Lux, but I feel like adding him onto the Jeffree Star and Eugenia whole combination just makes them such a toxic trio. Fun fact about Rich Lux, you guys, he used to make content triggered towards wanting to get Eugenia help, but now he hopped on this whole independence train. And by the way, guys, that's going to be my next documentary. It's called Independence, and it's going to be featuring Eugenia Cooney, but it's really going to be on a topic of that whole discussion of everybody who has been enabled, all the YouTubers prior who have been enabled and ended up in a situation, sadly, we're all striving to not see Eugenia in, and that is the purpose of my content on these subjects, you guys.
Okay, they said you wanted to,
This whole first half of this so-called interview, it's basically just a chit-chat where they sit down and kind of catch up with each other. They just hype up Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star ends up joining the live. They're like, oh my god, Jeffree Star. Anyways, Rich Lux is like eating up the attention of Eugenia and Jeffree being in his presence. So he's just kind of saying that, he says that hanging out with Jeffree, when he hung out with Jeffree, it was like basically going through a crash course in Harvard. And I was like, that is just so funny. Like, they're really up this man's butthole. And it's just, how do you have the time of your day to do that? Something else that caught my attention, you guys, is that Rich Lux had brought up the fact, he said, are you jealous that she was hanging out with Jeffree? Kind of insinuating that, hey, are you jealous that she's with Jeffree and not you right now because it's like racking in the views? And I thought that was kind of ironic for him to throw in there, since he just made a video talking about how he wasn't doing this to profit off of Eugenia Cooney and got so emotionally stressed out about it whenever people brought up the fact that he is heavily profiting off of this whole Eugenia situation right now. Guys, I stutter often doing my videos because I don't script them, and I tend to talk fast sometimes because I'm just like going off the top of my head and I don't want to lose that thought. But oh my god.
I have a program now, and it's telling me there's 34 people screen recording you right now.
He's calling people out. He's like, if people can screen record this and post this before I'm able to profit off of it, let me tell you. I just think that's so funny that he called that out. Then he went on to say, oh look, now that I called that out, the screen recording numbers are dropping. I don't know if he's able to see that or not, or if he's just saying that because he said only 34 people were doing it. I'm sure a lot more to be doing it if that was the case.
Hanging out with Jeffree Star for one day was like a semester of business school for Harvard. Because
but yes, Rich, like totally. I think it's so cool to see that, you know, like he's so passionate.
And gee, I'm happy right now. I'm so used to being exploited by you guys that it's just, gee, wow.
Oh, Jeffree, hi. Jeffree, I missed you. Jeffree, we were just talking to Rich, and we were just both saying, like, how amazing you are.
I'm really starting to wonder at this point if, like, all of them got together and signed, like, a contract or have, like, a business plan where, like, they're gonna, like, Rich Locks and Jeffree and Eugenia are gonna pull, like, this huge documentary or try to, where, like, if they're just in cahoots with, like, hyping each other up and maybe they're paying each other to hype each other up so much, I don't know.
oh, like, are you jealous that Eugenia's with Jeffree? I'm like, oh my god, you people are so dumb. People just want drama. I should know.
Anybody who disagrees with Rich Locks or speculates against his intentions with what he's doing, he just says it's drama. He's just an enabler, and everybody else is a hater in his eyes, and I don't know, you guys. I think maybe Rich Lux is so involved in this situation and Jeffree Star is really supporting it because of how positive Rich thinks that this is or is hyping it up to be. So maybe Rich is like the only one who's willing to give like nothing but positive coverage, and that's maybe why Jeffree's like up his butt too at this point right now. I don't know what the heck is going on or why they're like giving each other so much love recently over these lies. It's like watching, like, okay, do you remember back in like middle school days, you guys, when you see people do like public PDA in the hallway and your like little middle school mind is like, ew. That's like what it feels like to watch their lives. And y'all, I don't even know what to think anymore. I think this whole thing is giving like mind-boggling vibes. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. I know this was a lot, but a lot has happened since then, and I don't even know what to think about it anymore, to be honest. I don't know if Eugenia is going to get better at this point. I think it's just so hyped up that it's a positive thing that, who knows? Really, who knows? But I will talk to you guys in the next video. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this, and we'll see where it goes.